Hi, welcome my Flat Earth family. This is Marilyn Spirit Level, and the other night when I showed you the documents, I failed to show you the Pennsylvania Code, which is what I wanted to do. So this is not going to be a very long video. It's just going to go over how to look up the law and know what you're doing. And you never go in to talk to a lawyer unless you know what you're talking about. Now they're going to want to take over and, tell you what for, but you have to know. Just like you never trust an accountant. You always know what you're talking about. You always have enough information that you can check up on them. The same thing. You need to know what you're doing when it comes to the law too. So here we go. Down here at the bottom, you'll see this. Okay, it's 5503 is a section. The subsection is A2, and it's Title 18 of the PA Crimes Code. So this is what you type in first in your address bar in the browser. Title 18 PA Crimes Code, and then type in 5503, and then it'll take you right to that law, and you can look right down to that code. Let's say code. Code is not law. These are codes. And regulations is not law. See, there's things to this that you have to understand, but they're getting you on these codes and regulations. So this is what we're dealing with. All right. So down at the bottom it says disorderly conduct. So I'm going to go look up that section, what it really says. 5503A2. Unreasonable noise. That's what he says on here. So let's look this up. Here it is, right here. 5503A, and then come down here to 2. Makes unreasonable noise. See? Now what is that? Here's number 1. Engages in fighting or threatening or in violent or tumultuous behavior. Number 3. Uses obscene language or makes an obscene gesture. Or 4. Creates a hazardous or physically offensive condition by any act which serves no legitimate purpose of the actor. So I made an unreasonable noise. That definitely is the least of any of those horrible offensive things. So let's look at makes an unreasonable noise. What could that be? I don't know, an elephant noise, a cheetah, an ape sound. I don't know. What's unreasonable? It is nowhere unreasonable to say, this is an illegal arrest. I am here under free speech. I think that was the 2 things I said after I was arrested. Now, what did I say before I was arrested? I think one time I may have said, Earth is not a spinning ball. Wow, that is shocking and offensive. And that's going to really hurt somebody, isn't it? Well, I just was watching a video tonight about audits, police audits. And if you, the guy who was doing the police audit, and you have to look these things up if you don't know what I'm talking about. But they watch the police, they film the police when they're out not doing anything illegal. They are just out videotaping in public. And if the police approach them, they get it all on videotape and watch how the police are acting. And this is very good to know because you're seeing their training in action. This is how they are trained. Now, some of them use their common sense and some of them don't. So you have to just take take what you're watching and evaluate it in your mind. Not all police are the same. So evaluate it. Be discerning. So here we have this the code, and it says 5503 disorderly conduct makes unreasonable noise. I just can't imagine. Let's look down here at the case laws for the free speech. Free speech rights and court rulings related to street preaching. Okay, let's take a look. Open air preaching is protected by the United States. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or of the right to people to peacefully assemble and petition the government for a redress of grievances. Okay, so here we go. We have the right to pass out literature. We have the right to exercise our religion. We have a guaranteed access to streets and parks. Our freedom of speech may not be prohibited because it offends some listeners. Authorities may not consider the listener's reaction when permitting free speech activity. So even if somebody is offended, they're not supposed to listen to them. The police are not supposed to take that into consideration. Hecklers do not have veto power. Number 8, we have the right to be loud enough to be heard. There we go. Sounds like that's the one. Loud enough to be heard. Okay, we have the right to be protected by law enforcement of the crowd is offended by what we are preaching and becomes hostile. Okay, so if you're out preaching and a bunch of people in the neighborhood don't like what you're saying and they come around you and they act threatening, you have the right to be protected. Okay, permits are not allowed to be used against you. Free speech lawsuit is a federal case and allows us to sue policemen and guards if in their official capacity and as individuals. Okay? It's a federal case against a policeman if they prevent your free speech. Okay? So, free speech lawsuit will be subject them to pay our damages and all of our attorney fees. A freedom of speech lawsuit and where private property cannot prevent free speech. There you go. This is the Marsh versus Alabama. Right there it says it, right? Marsh versus Alabama. And the last one was the free speech within the privately owned structure in states like California, New Jersey. But that should be everywhere. I'm on a campaign against malls. I think it's horrible what they did there. And I don't put it past the elitists to build malls just to stop free speech. I don't put it past them. Okay. Here. We're going to get back to this one in a little bit. But let me close this window down. And that takes care of that one. Correct? We have the right to be heard. I can use a loudspeaker if I wanted to, but I don't. So I could have been louder. All right, so there's that section. Okay, the next thing we'll look at is right there. So sorry. Let me put that under there. That will hold it a little bit. Okay, so right in here, we're going to look at 3503 B1 little I. And that is the criminal trespass. Okay? Knowing he was not licensed or privileged to do so, did enter or remain in a place Now he's calling it private property. And the pastor, we already know the pastor lied and said it was a private event for church members and their families. And that was a lie. So, but we're going to look at this criminal trespass right here. B1 little I. So it's over here. Okay. Criminal trespass right there. It says up top. 3503. Then we go down to B. Defiant trespasser. 1 is a person commits an offense if, knowing that he is not licensed or privileged to do so, he enters or remains in any place as to which notice against trespass is given by, and little I says actual communication to the actor. Okay, so see how that just fell right into place? It's right written on there, and you can just look it up. And then it says exactly. But they print it out here too. But it's a good thing to go and look it up, because this is where you find certain things on this, like what they don't put on there. Let's go down here a little bit. There's a simple trespasser, agricultural trespasser, biohazard thing. Let's go down here to section C. So maybe you can see it if I tilt this a little better. Okay. Defenses. Well, gee, why didn't they put that on this paper? Gee, why don't you think the policeman, Trooper Lynn in this case, why didn't he even read this section? Huh? Defenses. It is a defense to prosecution, a defense to prosecution under this section that the building was abandoned, the premises were at the time open to members of the public, and the actor complied with all lawful conditions imposed on access to or remaining in the premises. Well, there you have it. So it was open to the public, and I complied with all lawful conditions. Now, what are those lawful conditions? You might want to look that up. I cannot interfere with anything they're doing. Okay? So if you come onto the property and they're having like a little concert or something, and you go running up on the stage and acting crazy, or interfere with the singer or whatever, that would not be lawful, because you're interfering with what they're doing there. You cannot do that. Now, who would do that? See? Someone who is not in control of their faculties, I would think. So right there, defenses. All right. Now the other thing was, let's look down here at the bottom. 6503. Posting advertisements on property of another. Now he wrote section A all in here. So let's go look at that. I already have that up here. Okay, 6503. Let me tilt up here a little bit. Awesome. Okay. I don't have an up and down thing here because it's only this one section, so. I don't want you to be crooked. Sorry. Let me just get this right so you can see it good. How's that? Up a little bit too high. We're good. All right. 6503. Posting advertisements on property of another. A. Offense defined. A person is guilty of a summary offense if he pastes, paints, brands, or stamps, or in any manner whatsoever places upon or attaches to any attaches. You got to look up that word. Attaches. Before I went to that other place, the church picnic at the public park, I brought up that one before. I looked up that word attaches. It's meant to be affixed, permanent. And I'll get to this at the end. I want it to be a big build-up here. Attaches to any building, fence, bridge, gate, outbuilding, or other object upon the grounds of a charitable, educational, penal institution, the Commonwealth, or upon any property belonging to the Commonwealth government, any political subdivision, municipality, local authority, written, printed, painted. See, look what they're talking about. A notice, a sign, a bill, a poster, pastes, paints, brands, stamps, or in any manner whatsoever places upon. Now, I looked at this. Places upon or attaches to any building. See? Or attaches to any building, fence, bridge, gate, whatsoever, without the limits of the highway, or any written, printed, painted, or other advertisement, bill, notice, sign. See, they restate these things. Written consent of the owner or tenant, lawfully in possession or occupancy thereof. The only thing I thought, well, I'm not attaching this, so what's places upon mean? So let's look at this. Places upon. All right, he wrote that there in the description of what was the offense. So we have the right to pass out literature, preach, and display signs on public areas. So places upon or display signs on. This area, at the time between 10 and 3, it was public access. So what's the difference between places and affixed and attaches or display signs? What's the display mean? A display is something that's temporary. A display goes with the person doing free speech. It's not attached. It's just, it could be laying on the ground. It could be just freestanding. It could be just leaning on the building, not hurting anything. They didn't even make a fuss. Well, they tried to. They took a picture of it when I had the bungee cord around that transformer, just stabilizing the sign. But they don't get you on that. They know that it's not a permanent affixed sign. So the difference between free speech, displaying signs on, and the other one is where did I see it? Placing. Oh my. Places upon. Here we go. Places upon or attaches. So places upon means to stick it on there and walk away from it. That's the deal. This is about sticking signs places that you don't have the right to do that. But this is about displaying a sign that you are speaking about. It's just information. It's about your free speech. It's a picture of your free speech or whatever it is. So we have that right. And we have the right to display those signs. Yeah. So, here we go. You cannot separate free speech from the public. You cannot separate them. You cannot separate free speech from the public. So, there's the law. We already know that free speech is allowed on private property when it's open to the public. So just saying that, you know, saying that maybe, oh, well, here this says only public areas. No. You can display signs when the property is open to the public, as in Marsh versus Alabama. If free speech is allowed, then all things that go with free speech are allowed. You know, you can sit and nitpick all day and, you know, parse words here, but it's all these free speech cases that I've read, they all go by the principle behind it. I've even read things where it says the flavor of the law. So does that mean it's just willy-nilly or guesswork? No, there's principles involved in deciding these things, and any good judge who is respectful of his position will go by the principle of the law and apply those principles. It's not by nitpicking. Oh, well, this says on, that says in, you know, no. I am all within the right. So you have, I just don't see anywhere. Now, somebody told me, do not get a jury trial, because the people you pick from the jury are really incompetent and they don't know anything. And I'm tending to agree a little bit on that, because a lot of people don't want to know about flat earth. And boy, oh boy, do I know that. I've been doing this 2 years, and I know that people do not want to know. So, don't get a jury trial because the people don't want to know. Yeah, I get that. I understand that. So here, this is the criminal trespass thing. And even if you just type in criminal trespass, you'll get a lot of things on here that'll pop up. Here's one of them. This is from a law firm. And look, they have it written in here, but they just put it in a different format. It's not exactly written in, 1, 2, and 3 down the side here. And then they pop up, hello, do you need legal help? So no matter what, you're going to get the idea of what's going on here. This law firm put it in pretty good form. Okay. But we can go and read it right out of here. There's chapter 35, section 5503, section 6503. Title 1, Criminal Code. Okay, I guess that's all I wanted to tell you. How to read these things and look them up so you know what you're talking about, and how the police will not show you down here in this section where it says defenses. Then they won't even read it. They don't care. They're just, you know, trying to justify their paycheck. Really, that's what they're doing, justifying the paycheck. So, there you have it. Have a great night, and hopefully you have seen my latest video. It's long, and the front hour of it is, there was really not much I could do about it. You know, I do not edit, so when you go into a parade, that's what you're going to find. So I'll talk to you soon. Have a good night. Bye.